a Polestar Pilates rehabilitational practitioner. I've been teaching since 2013 and I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I'm so sad that I can't do it in person with all of you guys. It is very doable on your own at home, and hopefully this will inspire you to either come in and see me when all of this nonsense is over if you're in the greater Denver area, or to just continue to practice at your home. I'm going to grab some water. I also forgot to mention in my post, I apologize, that we will need a chair for the very beginning. The most important thing is that your feet can touch the floor, just so you're a little bit grounded. I have to use blocks underneath them because I'm a miniature human being. But you're going to sit on the stool, feet down, and this is how we're going to start. If you don't have a stool, a regular chair will work. If you need to reposition the camera or whatever, so you're near a couch or something, you could do it seated, but it's just nice to have a little bit more room. This is a shoulder series that I'm really excited about, that I'm still learning. So I am going to use a little bit of notes for the start, if you don't mind. I'm going to grab some water. I'm going to give you guys a second to go ahead and get your chair. Also, if you have a TheraBand, I'm going to show some options with that, but it's not necessary. Same thing if you have little weights, also necessary. I think I need to start my Facebook video. Sorry guys, I'm still new at the streaming thing. Okay, so now I'm live on Facebook too. You can tune in. The video quality is better on YouTube if you want to check which one works better for your camera or your phone. I'm pretty sure you can also stream these things to the TV, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna grab some water, grab your mat, make sure you have water, a couple of pillows that are around this size. I use two. Anything will really work, just to be able to support underneath the head if we need to. Dumbbells again, just in case you didn't hear me before, I have 1 pound dumbbells. If you have any cans of food in your kitchen, 16 ounces is a pound. So you decide. You won't need much more than the 1 pound unless you're feeling really excited. A TheraBand. If you don't have one and you live in Colorado, let me know. If you're in a decent vicinity of me, I will cut one, I will wear gloves, I will wear a mask, and I will bring it to you. Okay? I'll be right back. Okay. I also have 3 lovely animals who love to make cameos in my videos, so I apologize if you see any of them. I'm going to give everyone just another minute or so to get logged in, and then we'll get started. So my classes are not for everybody, for most people. If you are in your 3rd trimester of pregnancy, I would refrain from taking this class. If you have any very serious injuries, whether that means in your spine, your neck, your hip, I mean, things that are fresh, surgeries, things like that, please refrain. Talk to me about it, and then we will go back and maybe do something for you on your own, just to make sure that you're safe. It makes me very worried not being able to be there and move your bodies and check in and make sure you're moving correctly. We are going to get started in just a minute. I'm just going to let everybody get situated. All right, my classes are donation-based only. If you are able to contribute to me, my Venmo is in the Facebook event. My Venmo is also Vanessa-Ursini, Ursini. But mostly I'm just glad that there's 9 people watching. That sounds great. Okay, let's get started. So if you've got your chair, awesome, take a seat. Find somewhere where you can have your feet on the floor. Okay, so you're nice and grounded. And then I want you to find this happy medium where you're sitting up tall and lengthening your spine, but you're not rigid and holding tension, okay? And then you're just gonna let your arms reach down by your sides. And we're gonna do some basic shoulder shrugs. So the shoulder series I really like because we have been doing so much sitting. I don't know about you, but I have been doing a lot more sitting, still exercising, but it's hard to just not sit on the couch and watch TV all day sometimes. Okay, so arms hang down by your sides. You're gonna give a little gentle reach of the shoulders up towards the ears. And then you're gonna relax shoulders away from the ears. Lots of breath as you do this. If you've never done Pilates, breath is number one. You have to breathe. Breathing facilitates movement, and it's good for you. It's going to make everything easier. Okay, I'll remind you as we go along how to breathe. Inhales on which part, exhales on which part. If you feel like that's super confusing and it's distracting, don't pay attention to it. Just make sure that you're breathing. Okay, a couple more in. Noticing if maybe one shoulder is a lot more free than the other. And just letting whatever happens naturally happen as you come up and down. 3 more. Should be a simple movement with ease. 2. I'm also a terrible counter. Pilates instructors are just known for being terrible counters. So if anyone wants to keep me in check, you just do exactly how many I say and that's enough. Okay, so now letting the shoulders hang, you're gonna let the palms face behind you. Find your seat again. Make sure you're sitting right on top of your pelvis. Weight isn't forwards or backwards. And then sitting tall, we're gonna press the arms back and behind the hips. And then let them come forwards. Nice. Check in with what's happening in your body, how that feels in both sides of your body. And as you press back, I want you to think about sitting a little taller. Really nice. This is something that you can do if you're like, whoa, that's boring. You can add your weights. 1, 2, 3, 5-pound dumbbells. Just make sure that anytime you add a prop, we're not sacrificing form for it, okay? Nothing is ever perfect, and I don't ever accuse perfection, but if you're sacrificing the original movement and the movement benefits, just get rid of the props for now. Okay, so as you press back and you're finding that little lift through the sternum, I want you to think about rotating your palms outwards. Okay, just a little bit. So as you press back, we're rotating. I'm gonna get closer to the camera so you can see what that means. So we're here, and then we're gonna rotate in and back, and then they come forwards. See how I'm kind of spiraling in, and then here. Press and reach. Now maintain that spiral as you do it. A little bit more lift in the sternum. Are you still breathing? Nice. Now let's press back and hold. With that little internal rotation, we're going to pulse back. And when you pulse, nothing else in the body should change. Imagine you were balancing a basket of fruit on top of your head. Keeping the back of the neck really long for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Good. You can just kind of shake it all out. First few minutes of the day. Sometimes this is a really nice wake up of the arms. It's just giving a little pat to the nervous system. Not so much that you're hurting yourself, just patting. Okay, I'm going to continue with my weights because it's giving me some nice feedback to hold on to something. Like I said before, you don't need anything to do this, okay? And then we're going to go 90 degrees with the arms. The palms are going to face down. So my bicep is hanging out right next to my rib cage, but I'm not squeezing my elbows in, okay? There should actually be just a tiny bit of space between your elbow and your rib cage. Your biceps are just hugging gently, okay? First movement. We're just gonna open the arms, the forearms, and then rotate the palms up. You're gonna let the palms come back down, and you're gonna rotate back in. Open, rotate palms up, and in. Okay, I'm gonna get closer so you can see what that looks like from the side. You're gonna sit tall. Imagine I was sitting tall right on top of my pelvis. It's open. Palms up, down, and in, okay? 3 more. This is kind of just a real basic seated warm-up. Opening to help with your shoulder mechanics, okay? 2, find that little lift in your sternum and your chest again. Breathe. in. Last one, open, palms up, down, and in. Shake it out if you need to. Give it a little circle with each shoulder. You're gonna move right on. This time, the only difference is that your palms are facing in. We're still at 90 degrees in the arms. The elbow is the pivot point to start, okay? Now, we're gonna open the arms. We're gonna rotate the palms down, and we're gonna press the arms away and lift to about shoulder height if you can. Bring the elbows back in. Palms rotate, and then they come back in. This is really similar to some of the workout machines at the gym. If you've been to one in forever, I haven't. But this reminds me of one of those, or like a commercial that sells exercise equipment. Okay, so palms start in. We're sitting tall. We're going to open. Palms face up this time. Reach out like you were trying to push two walls away from you from either side. Palms rotate and in. If you have a TheraBand, you can do the same thing with the TheraBand. It'll just add a little different kind of resistance. Let me show you what that'll look like really quick. So as you hold, you're going to hold with your palms facing you. The narrower you hold, the harder it will be, okay? So you're going to open, and you're going to press out and up. This is going to activate a different fascial line and some different muscles in the body. And here. All of it is really great for your shoulders. Let's do one more with whatever props that you're using. And bring them back in. Now, next we're going to practice just a little stretch. Top hands together. So you're going to connect your knuckles. So a lot of the times we're going to practice a little rotation. A lot of the times when we practice rotation, we compensate a lot. And because we don't have the rotation here in the middle back, it's kind of, we cheat a little bit without knowing it, okay? So for practice, this is going to help restrict us from cheating. I know you're not cheating on purpose, but you're going to bring your knuckles together like so, okay? And you're going to hold them to your chest. Elbows, just let them be wherever, okay? And then from here, we're going to rotate to one side and then back in. Go to the opposite side, feeling the weight stay even and grounded in your feet, and then back in. Now, point to yourself, so it's not a fist anymore. Your fingers are pressing into your sternum. Elbows are still just whatever. Fingers pushing, same thing. Rotate, sit tall as you rotate, and then back in. Try to keep your nose in line with your knuckles, okay? So your neck is only rotating as far as your knuckles are. Also, if you're starting to get really serious, smiling is also really helpful in Pilates. Makes movements easier. So you might not be rotating very far, and that's okay. I'm trying to isolate the rotation in the thoracic spine, in your middle back. Awesome. Push your sternum into your fingers as hard as you're pushing your fingers into your sternum. And just notice what's happening. Try to inhale to prepare, lift. Exhale. This time we're going to hold. We're going to inhale. And on your exhale, see if you can go just a little bit deeper. Don't force it. Inhale back to center. Exhale, switch. Check in with your knees and your feet and your hips. It should all be equally weighted. Take an inhale. Exhale a little deeper. Twist if you can another centimeter. And back to center. Inhale, lift tall. Twist to the opposite side. This will be the last one for this side. We got one more. Inhale, hold. Exhale, twist. Make sure your spine is only getting longer rather than slouching. Good. Back across. Last one. This is not a hard series. This isn't going to make you sweat. It might make you sore in some really tiny muscle groups, but try not to get discouraged if we're not just getting taught these like ball busting, sweat induced workouts. There's plenty of HIIT workouts on YouTube that you can do later. So hopefully that made you feel pretty good. I love rotations. Rotations is also a really great way to get rid of stress. Next, we're gonna take the palm and we're gonna place it kind of right in the armpit where I feel like I can push forwards a little bit here. So I'm like locking my hand into place, okay? Now we're gonna take the opposite hand and bring it behind the head. Now notice that when I have my hand behind my head, what I'm gonna try to facilitate is a little lift sensation where I'm pulling up on the back of my skull to make the back of my neck longer. That in turn lets my chin drop down just a little bit and I feel really tall. When I started Pilates, they said it would make me taller and I was like, yeah, I'm all about that. 5'2", very tiny. So increasing posture in this time of pandemic and sitting and Netflix watching is important. So practice this with me. So hand is here. We've got it just kind of connected to the armpit and giving some nice pressure so it sticks. Opposite hand behind the head. We're going to do a side bend and we're going to go towards the armpit side. Good. And then come back up. Inhale. So when we do this, this is another isolation. We're making so that we're having to side bend up and over this armpit hand and back up. Next time when you do this, I want you to think about the opposite side of your armpit side, if that makes sense. And try to pause here and maybe breathe in to the rib cage. And exhale, let it go. Inhale, come back up. We've got 3 more. Press and touch. We will spice up this workout in a little bit though, I do promise that. We just like to get started sometimes seated instead of laying down. I did a hike today and it's later in the day, so I didn't want to lay down for fear that I would get too sleepy. Pressing. Good. Pause. Find that extra bit of length like you're a rainbow. Up and over. And let's switch. Shake it out. Opposite hand behind. Find that little press up. This hand going into the armpit. Now this is a great time to notice any asymmetries in your body. One side is never really symmetrical to the other. You might be really close or you might just not notice it, and that's okay too. Sometimes we're a little too hypercritical of ourselves, right? Back up and over. Mine feel pretty similar today, but it just depends on the day sometimes, right? Thinking about that pressure in and around the rib cage, and then think about lifting the ribs up and spilling over, creating this nice little accordion shape in the ribs, expanding this top rib side. And this is also, this hand here under the armpit is preventing us from just collapsing into the side bend. Excuse me. Lift up and over. We got 2 more. Here's 1. Exhale, press your head into your hand and vice versa, finding that little nod to the chin and that little lift. And back up. Cool. Last one. Here. And up. Go ahead and shake out the hands. We're going to bring both hands behind the head just for a moment, just to see how your rotation feels, okay? Both hands behind the head. Bring the elbows slightly forwards, like you were trying to slide the shoulder blades forwards. And then we're just going to do a little rotation. Mine feels really nice. Come back to center. Thinking about all of those principles that we just practiced and applying them here. Getting taller as you rotate. And to center. Awesome. Go ahead and relax and shake it out for a moment. We're going to do 1 more set and then we're going to stand up and get moving some more, okay? So we're going to bring the arms to 90, the palms down, okay, like so. And then we're going to go elbows up, like you were trying to put your elbows on a really high armrest. So they're just slightly above your forearms and maybe your shoulders. Okay, and then from here, we are going to reach the arms back behind us, like kind of like we were flying on this long diagonal, okay? From here, we're gonna lift the sternum up. Gaze is gonna come up a little bit. And then the arms are gonna sweep forwards. You're gonna cross the arms, round the spine, and hug the shoulder blades. Awesome. Come back up and start again. So the palms are down, arms at 90. I'm gonna get a little closer so you can see this one too. So arms are at 90. From here, we go up and on our chair. And then this time, we're gonna bring the elbows back. So it looks like this from the side. And that's when, like you were trying to reach something that was behind you, reach for it, lift the sternum. Here's a little extension. And then let the arms sweep forwards, hug the shoulder blades, okay? That makes sense, I hope so. If anything doesn't make sense, you're really curious, like, why couldn't I get that? It didn't feel right, or I want to know more about it, try to just jot it down or put it in the comments, and I'll do my best to explain it or address it. So let's do that 2 more times. It's a lot of movement in the shoulder. It should feel really good. Palms are down, elbows are at 90. Let the elbows float up to your armchair, okay? Draw the elbows back. Now reach back. As you reach, lift the sternum. Let your gaze just naturally flow up. It should be easy to hear you talk and breathe still. And then reach forwards, round, and hug yourself. Maybe a little rock in the neck. Gentle with the movements. Come back up to seated. Okay, from here, if you want, you can do this with weights. Palms in, or let's do palms down, excuse me. Let's go up with the elbows. Back with the elbows. Stretch, and then reach on a little bit of the downwards diagonal. Lift the chest. And swipe forwards. So you can do all of that with weights, all of that with TheraBands, whatever feels best. Let's go ahead and get rid of your stool or your chair. I'll give everyone a minute to get there. Okay, a little bit of standing work before we get down onto the ground, all right? All we're gonna practice to start is just some basic knee bends and some squats, I guess. They're not full squats, they're not something you would do in a gym, but just like how you would naturally get down to the ground. We squat, we all have our ways that we get down. Sometimes it's really easy to get down and off the ground, sometimes it's hard. Here, if you wanna hold weights, you can do it here too. Always ways to make these things harder. Let's pick up the pace a little bit. And as you squat, I want you to see if you can keep your heels down and your chest lifted, okay? And down, make sure you're breathing. This is just a nice way to warm some things up after we have sat for a little while, but warmed up the upper body a lot. Keep squatting, up and down. And then we're gonna add some arm movement and a side bend. If the arm movement is too much for you and you get confused, do hands behind the head and side bend. We're gonna squat, hands behind the head, side bend. For those of you that want a little extra challenge, we're gonna go squat, side bend, underarm and overarm. Squat, side bend, squat, side bend, squat, side bend. Same thing applies in the squat, just adding full body movements here. You will be forced to breathe, hopefully. Grab water if you need it. If you need a break, take one. I'm not a drill sergeant, just a Pilates instructor. Down and up. We're gonna add on, okay? We're gonna add a leg lift when you're ready. So we're gonna go down, we're gonna side bend, and the side that you side bend towards, leg lift, okay? Come back in, squat, side bend, leg lift. You might have one side, like me, that is so much harder to balance on. Could be a various amount of reasons why that's happening. Hard for me to not be able to see you here, but like I said, sometimes just the asymmetries, might be an injury, might just be a dominant side thing, whatever. Keep moving with me. And if you have got too much choreography going on, it still just looks like this. Here, and here, here, and here. Ready? See if I can still do it. And here. Some days coordination is just easier than others, right? Here, and here, here, here. Squat and hold. And stand tall, okay? Heels are gonna come, feet are gonna come wider than the hips. We're gonna do just some wide-legged squats because I love them. Keep your torso aligned on top of your pelvis. Feet are out. These are also really great for hiking, biking, anything that you're doing outside these days, hopefully with the proper protection and keeping proper distance. From here, let's go hands behind the head since we have nice warm shoulders. We're gonna come down into a squat. Your range is up to you, okay? I want you to go just as low as you can without letting your torso hinge forwards, okay? So imagine you are sliding your back and the back of your pelvis down a wall behind you, okay? The turnout in your feet can also be up to you. What's comfortable in your hips? What makes you move the most fluid? And see if you can practice as much symmetry as you can, pushing through both legs. Down and up. I'm nice and warm now. Getting lots of pops in my ankles. I'm a very poppy person. If your knees or your ankles pop, I'm usually okay with it. If it's causing you any shooting pains, any sharp or shooting pain anywhere, we are gonna not do that. You're gonna take note, you're gonna tell me, and we're gonna try to figure out why. Hold the squat. Lift the chest a little higher. Pulse down and up for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, get a little lower, 3, 2, hold for a breath, sit back, come all the way up. Little rotation to one side, little rotation to the other side. Awesome, back to center, shake it out. One more standing series, okay? I'm gonna show you from the side. You can face me, do whatever works best for your setup, okay? And we're gonna take some standing leg kicks. Now, depending on your hamstring flexibility and a little bit of flexibility in the lower spine is gonna determine how high you kick, okay? So, when you kick, what I don't wanna see is this. This isn't great for your body or for your spine, kind of silly. But think about your hip joint being what creates the movement, and almost like you're lifting from the back of your leg. Think effortless, like your leg weighed nothing, right? No quarantine snacks have entered the legs. And if you want, you can take the hands behind the head. You can hold weights out towards the side. I don't care. There's lots of ways to make this more challenging, right? Torso is staying fairly on top of my hips. Now, little balance challenge. We're gonna take the leg closest to the camera out and hold. I want you to try to take a soft step forwards and a lunge, back knee bends. Try to find your balance from your lunge, okay? Same thing. I don't care how far away you step. Just make sure that when you step, it's quiet and it's your back knee that lets you come down. Up. Woo. And down. Have some fun with this, okay? Be silly with yourself. If you fall, who cares? Get right back up. It's almost nice because we're doing this in the comfort of our own homes or whatever, and not in a class setting or group setting where I know sometimes that can be intimidating, especially if you're doing this for your first time. It is not easy to be silly about yourself in front of other people. 2 more here, up. So we're on the same side, right? Let's hold this one, pulse, back knee down. Try to keep the torso lifted. Hands can be at hip or in front of you, wherever. For 3, 2, now listen to me. Stand up, find your balance, take a step back. This time I'm gonna hop forwards. Now we're in extension. We're gonna go back and lunge. Lift up. We're gonna come into a little teeter-totter, or a seesaw, or a T, and then back and lunge. Launching forwards, teeter-totter. Do whatever you want with your hands. Maybe lift the hands up. And as you launch forwards, you take them back. Hands on the hips works. Hands in a band. Weights. Holding cans of beans. Whatever. 2 more. Ooh. My dog laughs at me though. Just kidding. She is fast asleep from a hike we took. Oh boy. Hold the next one. In the lunge, pulse. Straight down. So my back knee is the one that's pulsing. My husband also is laughing a little bit. Nice. Come up, find your balance. One more time. And set the leg down. That should have been a decent amount of work for both legs. Sometimes if you need to, it helps to just give them a little pat and a shake. And we're gonna do the opposite leg now. So the leg closest to your camera stays flat on the ground, strong base. Left leg, or sorry, the other leg kicks forwards. And then we take a soft step and we lunge. Press back, try to find your balance. Notice which side is easier, harder. Sometimes it just takes a couple to get warmed up too. That's okay. Breathe. Back knee down. Okay, so when we lunge, it's not this. Okay, we're not just putting the weight super far over the toes, but rather when you step, the back knee goes down and up. My balance is not very good on this side. Let's do 2 more. Here's one. Next one, we're gonna hold and pulse. Down here, the femur and the knee reach down towards the floor. 4, 3, 2, 1. Try to press up, balance. See if you can step back and lunge. Launch forwards. Find your standing split. Back, maybe arms up, maybe a little momentum from my arms will help my balance. I don't know. Do your best. Make sure it feels good. Body should be working. We should be down, up. Uh-oh. Last one. Get back there. Lunge. Pulse. Draw the chest up. Ribs on top of pelvis. 4, 3, 2, 1. Launch it one more time. Balance for a moment. Super strong. My last one was my best one for sure. And take it in and shake it. Really nice job. Okay. We're gonna slowly make our way down into quadruped. We're gonna do a few roll downs to get there first. Okay, so stand at the back of your mat. Whew, I'm out of breath. That was nice. Let's keep feet at about hip distance. For those of you just joining me, hip distance is here in the center of your hip crease, okay? Not here. So hip distance right in the center. Now, you're gonna let your arms dangle the whole time. You're gonna let your chin nod down. Let your sternum spill forwards. Middle back starts to round. Now pay attention to your weight here. Try to keep your weight a little bit more biased to the balls of the feet. And then peel back up, one bone at a time. Trying to stack each vertebrae up one at a time. Okay, head is the last thing to come up. Take an inhale. Nod the chin down. Exhalation. And then roll. When you get to about here, try to keep the femurs right on top of the knees, knees right on top of the ankles. Nice big breath at the bottom. And we're gonna come back up. Nice. work. 2 more, and then we're gonna stay down there after 2, okay? Not the chin. Think about keeping the back of the throat open and long. Shoulders round forwards. Almost think about drawing in and up. Notice that I'm not like so. My heels and my weight hasn't gone so far back that my femurs are no longer on top. You'll feel a little top heavy, but I want you to try to stay right here. I'm not so much worried about if you can touch the floor. We'll get there someday. This is a huge fascial lengthening stretch for the back of the body. So just because you can't touch your toes does not mean that you're not flexible, okay? Last one, we're gonna roll down and we're gonna stay there. If you need to bend your knees to touch the floor, no problem. You're gonna walk out to a plank and we're gonna hold, okay? If you need to come down to your knees to hold your plank, no problem. For the rest of you, see if you can get the shoulders on top of your wrists. We're gonna rock forwards and back on the heels. Everyone else is just holding. If you need to come down to your forearms, come down to your forearms. If you need a rest, take a rest. Breathe. We've got 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down to your knees. Let them be wide. Sit in a child's pose. Reach back. Let your head rest. I love it. Up and onto hands and knees now. If you just need something to be able to rest on the ground so that you can hold a fist onto them. And it should take some of the pressure out of your wrists. Or if you have something that you can place that's about the same height, that's about this high off the ground, you can put your forearms on there and do almost the same movements, okay? So from here, we're just gonna practice a little quadruped. We're gonna start with movement in the spine and then settle into somewhere in the middle. So we're gonna let the chin drop down. The shoulders round up, the belly lift up, the tailbone drop down. Now we're gonna come out of this the opposite way. Tailbone reaches out, belly comes down, chest reaches up and forward. So find some extension. The gaze is forwards, but I'm not looking all the way up towards the ceiling. It's still down. Almost pull your chest up and through. 2 more times. Down, lift, here, out, and up. Okay, come back to center. Let's do a couple of side bends. So we're gonna let the feet, both feet come to the right side. You're gonna gaze back with your head and look towards your feet. You'll notice that this side bends like we practiced earlier. I'm gonna take it across and do the other side. Side bend. Back and across. And across. Just try to keep your shoulders right on top of your wrists. Whatever works. Here and here. Exhale. Inhales, breathe. 1 more time to each side. And back to center. From here, we're gonna go arms marching to start. We're gonna find this happy place in the spine that I'll refer to as your neutral spine, but everybody's neutral is a little bit different, okay? You wanna find where you're pressing into the arms, like you're trying to spread the shoulder blades, but not necessarily round the upper back. Okay, it's settling right in with strong shoulders. The crown of the head is reaching forwards with a little nod to your chin. And then your tailbone and your sacrum have a little bit of extension in them without letting your tummy hang towards the mat, okay? Now, without changing any of that and a minimal shift in your weight, you're gonna let one arm come forwards. And then float back down to the mat, find right underneath the shoulder again, and alternate. These are your first ones. I definitely don't expect them to be perfect. Just settle in, let your body get all the little wiggles out, and then try to keep it steady through your torso and your spine neutral as you do it. If your feet need to be flexed, that's okay too. Sometimes just ankle flexibility, that's more comfortable. So for my feet down, tops of my feet, whatever works for you. Are you breathing still? 1 more on each side, okay? If you're on your forearms, you can do this still. Your neutral will be a slight diagonal and it'll look more like this. Okay. Now we're gonna pause the arms and we're gonna do the legs. So the knees should be right underneath the hips. You're gonna take one leg back, drag it on the mat. So my foot is still down, okay? Bring it back underneath, and then other side. So notice if your neutral changed at all, okay? Realign, try to draw the ribs up a little bit. Make the back of that neck long again, like you were trying to balance a stick right in the middle of your back, okay? If this is enough for you, fantastic, okay? Legs are long levers, they get pretty heavy, okay? So if you'd like to spice it up, you're gonna hold super strong in your arms, and then you're gonna float the leg to hip height, okay? And you're gonna bring it back underneath, right underneath the hip, not towards the center of the body. That's a little bit of cheating. Reach back, hover the leg. Come back under, and then here, float to hip height. So it's not this, okay? I didn't change my spine. I didn't extend, I didn't arch my back. I didn't bend my knee. If you can't get it to hip height without bending your knee or moving your spine, that's okay. Go a little bit lower. Nothing wrong with that. One more on each side. And here's a kitty cameo. Arm, left leg. Reaching out and forwards. And then float to shoulder height and hip height. Come back underneath with control. Notice if your weight shifts back as you do it. Focus on that and reach and lift again. Push into that super strong stabilizing arm. And we'll go back and forth. You can always just hold quadruped. You can hang it on your elbows, or you can rest through this series. Next one, we're gonna hold whatever side you're on. Opposite arm, opposite leg, hold. See if you can float your opposite foot off of the floor and balance. It should be wobbly, it should be weird, that's okay. Do your best. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you need a little pad under your knee too, go ahead and roll something up, put it under there. Opposite side, reach out, hold. See if you can hover the foot. Breathe, this is my better side. Hold, you got it. Take a seat and come to facing me. From here, we're gonna go into a mermaid position. This is a Z-sit position, okay? Your front leg is externally rotated, the hip is. The back leg is internally rotated, the hip is. So if you sit like this and your hip is coming way up off the floor, you can't get those sit bones to touch. What you're gonna do is grab a block or a book of whatever size you need to be comfortable in that position. Now, the book is gonna go under the opposite sit bone. So I wonder if I can show you closer to the camera how your legs are gonna be. The front leg is like so. The back leg looks like this. It's not the best explanation, but you get it. Here and here. So on the ground, it looks like this. Okay, now we're gonna do a little mermaid. We're gonna reach the arms out towards either side, okay? Getting your sit bones as close to the book, the block, or the floor as you can without forceful movement. We're gonna bring one arm down, away from the legs we go. Side bend, up and over. Mermaid, you did it. Inhale here. Exhale, bring the whole shape back up and over. Try to bring your weight right over your pelvis. And we're gonna go down and stretch. Soften this bottom elbow so that shoulder is softening away from your ear. Back up and over, exhale. This time, actually let's do 2 more. These feel great. Up and over. Exhale. This one we are going to hold. So we're gonna side bend, over. Now, keep this hand grounded, the elbow soft. We're gonna rotate towards that hand, towards the mat. Exhale, feel the spine round, and then come back open towards me. Inhale here. Exhale forwards. Imagine you are bringing out a wet towel. That is your spine. And open. 2 more. Exhale. 1. And 2. Come back open. Lift up and over. And a little counter stretch to the opposite side. So same thing, just the other way. So coming up and out of this stretch, we need to do the other side. So we're gonna rotate the legs. You don't have to change positions, the position that you're facing, unless you want to turn around. But all you're gonna do is switch the sides and see how that feels. If anyone gets any knee discomfort here, whichever side has got discomfort, that leg goes forwards, all right? You can also do this sitting cross-legged. And I have a little knee injury from a snowboarding accident, so I need a little support under my knee for this side. Sit, however, makes you comfortable so that you can keep your hips aligned, length on both sides of your body, and you can perform this with ease, okay? Now bringing this side down, soften the elbow, lift up and over. With the bend in your bottom arm still, try to press into that bottom hand a little bit so you feel expansion on the top side of the rib cage or the top ribs. And come back up. And inhale here. Let's pause down there, find that same pressure. Try to inhale into the ribs on the top side. And exhale, come up. Really nice. I hope you guys are having fun. This is super fun for me. I know some of you, I think, have never done Pilates before, so I hope this is a really nice intro. It wasn't too much. And I hope I didn't scare you away to come back. We're not done yet, don't worry, but coming up. And down. I appreciate your support. It means a lot for me for you guys to be here. This keeps me accountable. It is helping keep my body healthy and happy. And hearing your feedback is also really important to me, so I appreciate it. And hopefully you'll come in and use the equipment with me when this is all over. Come up and over, pause. Let's rotate. Exhale down. Notice rotation from one side to the other. Better, worse, awesome. The same. You tell me. Soften the shoulders. Be nice to your movements. I find so often that we try to squeeze things and create tension when it's unnecessary. Our muscles will work usually without us having to tell them to. Opposite side comes down, lift up and over. I love your reins. Okay, now sitting, let's get some abdominal work in here, okay? We did a little bit of planks, but let's get it a little bit more. We're gonna go feet flat, knees bent, okay? And then I want you to sit up tall so that I'm wearing black. It's kind of hard to see, but my spine is straight and long, okay? We want to avoid starting in this kind of hunched over position. So whatever you need to do to sit up tall, if you need to sit on the block or your book again to get tall, do it. Feet flat. All we're going to do is warm up the spine a little bit. We're going to let the chin draw down, the shoulders curl, and our arms straighten. So I'm holding on to the back of my thighs. I'm not going any farther than this. My feet are on the ground still. And I'm going to curl back up. I'm going to pull through my thighs. And I'm going to lift my chest up, extend. I'm going to roll down. I'm going to extend arms and forwards. And come back up. Let's do that just one more time. We have the support of the hands here, so that's why it's not feeling as challenging. And up and through. Lengthen, lift, pull into the thighs so the shoulders drop back and down. And back to center. So now we're going to take away the support of the arms. We're going to let the arms reach forwards, still sitting tall. We're going to roll back as far as you can go without letting the feet come up. And then up into the top. Find what works for you where you're not sacrificing your form. Here's another opportunity to use your weights if you want to. If you lose the connection to your feet, you're just balancing at that point. It's not really as much abdominal work as we want. Go a little lower if you can. And come back up. And remember, if it's not perfect, if you roll all the way down, if your feet come up a little bit, whatever, just get back into it and try to fix it. Okay, pause at your range of motion. Let your arms come up, come back up into seated. Just a little arm choreography, arms to shoulder height. Same thing, we're rolling back. We're lifting, and we're coming up. Shoulder height, roll, lift, and up. If you're doing this with the band, it looks like this. Remember, the more narrow, the more resistance you're gonna get, the harder it'll be on your arms. Pull out on the band, roll back, lift, and come up, down, roll, lift, and up. Last one. We're gonna hold. We're gonna lift and lower the arms 5 times. Up, down. If you're finding that your hip flexors, the front of your hips are starting to grip and you don't feel this in your abs, grab anything to squeeze, like a pillow, a ball if you have it, something to give you a little feedback through the thighs. Up and down. 2, 1. Hold the arms up and come up and stretch forwards. Maybe even give yourself that cross-armed hug. Little gentle pull on the shoulders. Really nice. All right, so from here, you're either going to do that again, another set of that. If you'd like a little bit more of a challenge, we're gonna practice a little bit of a teaser modification, okay? If you've never done Pilates, you're like, what is that? We're gonna roll back about halfway, and we're just gonna start by practicing marching the legs this time. You can have your weights, you can have the band, you can have nothing. You won't need the ball in between your thighs. March the legs. See if you're not up. Don't need any extra tension in the neck. One more on each side. Curl up and stretch forwards. Come back up to seated. A little bit different, but a little bit the same. Roll back. If you're ready, one leg up, and the other. This is balance and abdominal work. Now, one leg down and up. It's the same thing with the opposite leg suspended. Keep the upper body still as you can. And down, up, down, up. Breathe. One more on each side. Come up and stretch forward. Nice job. One more teaser. It's going to be harder. If you're ready to go back to something from before, please do that, okay? You're ready. If you want to take a rest, lay down. Roll back, okay? Find your balance point, arms reaching forwards. Now, one leg extends out. The other leg extends out. Hold. If you need to squeeze something, squeeze it. Try to lift the chest a little higher. Give out the legs if you need to. Feel the modification if you want to try. Breathe. Come back in. Feet down. Stretch forwards. Nice job. Okay. Before we do roll downs, we're going to go into a little crisscross series. That's a little slightly different than I normally teach, but fun nonetheless. We are going to sit tall. You're going to take both hands onto the outside of the thigh closest to the camera. We're going to roll backwards, and we're going to lift. Actually, go ahead and roll down to about the tips of the shoulder blades. So you're going to be pretty close to the floor, okay? You're holding on to the back of this thigh. Let the elbows bend. You're going to lift the other foot and pause. Then you're going to switch sides. So just hang on to the back of the thigh and switch. Shoulder blades are off of the floor. Switch. Switch. Now hold. Let this leg dip down to the opposite leg that you're not holding on to, and then switch. Use your arms to pull the upper body up a little rather than pulling the knee any closer to the face. So the knee stays right on top of the hip. Exhale as you twist. Good. One more on each side. Here's 1, 2. Come back to center. Roll up to the top. Okay, we're going to do some roll downs now. Scoot forwards on your mat so you're good enough room to roll down. Sit up tall if you need to bend your knees a little bit here, no problem. I'd rather your spine be long, okay? Now, as you roll down, you're gonna let the pelvis roll back, let your legs straighten. The feet and legs will come with you. Arms flow back up to the ceiling, inhale. Nod the chin, exhale to curl up. And a stretch forward. Sometimes I know some of my clients do better with roll downs with a weight. Heavier is usually better. And you're gonna squeeze that weight by the outsides of it so that we trigger this nice grip reflex. But it's the same movement. You're gonna roll down, pelvis first. You're gonna roll back with control. Try to articulate the spine back. Arms, this is probably the hardest part of the weight, is arms back to the floor. Arms back up to the ceiling. Now the chin, try not to use momentum if you can to come up and over. We've got two more. You can do this with your band, pulling out. You can squeeze a ball. Lots of options with props at home. Just whether you're creative enough to make them. Nice. We're gonna stay down on the next roll down, all right? Best one yet, right? Arms all the way up. Just rest for a minute. Relax the arms. Check in with your body. Maybe do a couple wiggles. We're gonna bring the feet to hip distance, knees bent. We're gonna reach the arms on either side. So we're gonna take an inhale. And on the exhale, we're gonna start to peel the hips up and away for some bridges, okay? Lifting up. Try to bring your weight forwards, like you are trying to pull your knees forwards towards the end of your mat. And then lower down. Think upper body first. Roll through the middle back. Pelvis, and then tailbone. And then up. See if you can keep your knees the same distance. Your collarbones broad, and like you're trying to spread the weight just through the back of the scapula, through the back of your shoulder blades. And really nice. Three more. Just some basic bridges today, because I feel naked if I don't do them in a class. Two. Notice if you feel like a segment in your spine is a little stiffer or just moves with more ease than another. Last one. Lift up. Feel the hips lift to hopefully a height where there's no hip crease at the front of the hip. Arms are reaching long. Down. Let the knees just rock from side to side here. Pelvis can rotate with it. Go ahead and grab a pillow or something to support under your head. And we're going to reach long with the legs. Do whatever is comfortable. If you have a foam roller, you want to put it under your knees. If you have a blanket, you want to put it on top of you. We're just going to take some nice big breaths together. First breaths, we're going to focus on some lateral breathing. So I want you to bring your hands to your rib cage, to the outside of the rib cage on each side. Let the legs just kind of flop open, and on your inhale, I want you to breathe into your hands. See if you can expand from right to left. And exhale, feel the hands come gently closer together. And again. Lots of nice side bending and rotation, so I'm hoping that this feels really juicy and good. Eyes undo it. Awesome. Now let's take your hand on your sternum, heel close to your breastbone and your belly. And then we're going to breathe, trying to breathe into just the belly hand, okay? Let it relax, depending on how much you've had to eat today too. This might feel easier. And let it go. Now switch it. See if you can breathe into your sternum and your belly soft. Let your spine be settled. Now try to breathe into your belly and your sternum. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Let your hands come down by your sides wherever they fall and are most comfortable. Take a few inhales here. First, focusing on all of those movements, side to side, sternum and belly. See if you can breathe away a little tension. See if you can breathe away a little distraction. Now soften your breath. Let it happen naturally 2 times together. When you're ready, you can roll yourself to one side or the other. Go ahead and use your upper body to help you come to a seated position. And we are all finished. Thanks for sticking with me and working so hard today. I appreciate you all so much. Let me know if you have any questions. Good, babe.